What am I doing here? What is this? Have I was at the cinema?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's time to talk about Avengers Endgame because, oh my God, we've just left the cinema about an hour ago now. And
Has it been an hour already?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It has literally been an hour. And we just thought we'd kind of gather our thoughts on the film. Spoilers, obviously, so if you haven't seen the film and you don't want to be spoiled,
go away.
Skedaddle out the way. Wow. I'm kind of the same way I was after Infinity War, maybe less emotionally drained in a way, because even though there are definitely emotional bits of this film, which we'll cover later in the discussion, it kind of left me with a nice, happy feeling of renewed comic bookiness. Like, this is just in kind of in a different way. Spider-Verse was an unabashed love letter to comics. This is everything. If you love sci-fi Marvel, if you love big, bombastic comics that just are occasionally stupid, but also just unfettered imagination that is just amazing, then this film is for you.
I'm gonna partly massively agree with you, but also to an extent massively disagree.
Both massive.
I think if it was a huge ode to comic books, and I've left with this renewed sense of aren't comic book movies great, but I feel way different to how I did when I left Infinity War. When I walked out of that, I was like, right, okay, I've just seen a great comic book movie, yes, but I've also feel like I've seen a great piece of cinema separate from all that. Like, regardless of genre or anything like that, I've seen a cinematic achievement on a scale I didn't think I could have seen walking in. And I don't know whether I just need to collect my thoughts a bit more and like compile it all a bit better, but I did walk out with that just thinking, yeah, all right, I've seen a great comic book movie there, but I don't know if I've seen a great movie.
Interesting. Cy Gallagher, rebuttal?
I think it's a very, very entertaining experience.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a very great filmic film. Some of the technical stuff in it is very, very good, but it's funny that you should mention Infinity War being better at it. It just did it first. So the scale of that battle, the climactic battle, is amazing, but we saw it in Wakanda. If we saw it for the first time here, it would be like, that would be the thing you were talking about. But here, it's like, that was amazing, but like,
I mean,
we've seen that bit.
I mean, we're going to talk about the best moments later on.
Yeah. I don't think that was best moment anyway.
But personally, I kind of think I would disagree there as well, because just seeing the sheer amount of stuff that happens, that you got giant man manning around all over the place. You got Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up together. You got Hawkeye running around with the Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet. It is just amazing.
I think it's great. I just think it takes the gloss slightly off it that we've seen something as big as that. I'm not saying in any way that either of those two scenes are bad. It's just Adam has been desensitized somewhat by the fact that he's always seen it.
I think that in Infinity War, even the big scale battle in Wakanda, there was a sense of intimacy to it. It felt like there was a scale to it that you could appreciate. But bear in mind, most of the fight scenes in Infinity War are between a very small group of people, and there are genuine stakes there. We're like, I don't actually know who's going to win this. When that first shot where they just pull everybody out of nowhere and line up these two huge armies,
and Wong says, "What, did you want some more?"
Want some more? I remember sitting there going, this is just going to be a total mess and the good guys are going to win. I remember like I was like, yeah, and I don't wrong, I got swept up in it.
Exactly, it's what you want.
I wanted to be swept up in it. It was brilliant, but it never carried the emotional weight at any point for me that it did during Infinity War, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not down on this film at all. I think it's, as I say, I think I've just seen another great comic book movie, but I can't say that it did for me on many levels what Infinity War did. But don't get me wrong, Infinity War cheated. You know what I mean? Because it gets to be a part one. It gets to not like have to wrap things up in the satisfying way. It gets to leave stuff hanging, and you can do so much more narratively when you haven't got to finish stuff. I get it's working on a different playing field, but I don't know. I went into it thinking, how are they going to top that, whilst at the same time having to conform to the usual closing chapter like tropes. They've got to make sure there's a happy ending. Things get passed on. Things get renewed. Yada yada yada. And I remember going in thinking, how do they do that and make this bigger than the last one? And my brain went, I hope they don't just make the fights bigger. And then when I saw this size of this fight, I was like, they've just made the fights bigger.
It's really good.
But it is really good. Yeah, that's the caveat to all of this. It's thoroughly enjoyable.
That was another thing you mentioned earlier on, was kind of the expectations going into the film. And even though we kind of reporting in the build-up to the film releasing consumed so many rumors, so many leaks, and yet I still left the cinema with a genuine sense of surprise. There was stuff in here that caught me completely off guard.
Yeah.
And I think that is a testament, like you said, off camera. I'm just stealing your point. Really,
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's what happens.
You know, Disney kind of that genius for marketing the film.
The marketing was great. I mean, I in particular go after leaks like nobody's business.
Like a rat of a dream.
Like exactly. After Infinity Gems.
Exactly. Like Fat Thor eating stuff.
Twinkies.
That is my thing. I like leaks. I like spoilers. And there was quite a lot of things in that I didn't know. I had no idea. A lot of things that nobody speculated about.
What completely caught you off guard?
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Well, it's been mentioned by nobody.
Caught me so off guard that I was in denial for the rest of the film that she was actually dead.
But is that not partly because of the way they handled it?
Absolutely. But in the sense as well, it's like I was just like, wow, I wasn't really expecting that. Again, I've kind of dealt with this entire franchise since they introduced Hawkeye as, Hawkeye's going to die in this one, and I have to deal with that as the one Hawkeye super fan in the entire world. But luckily that doesn't happen. It's just there are so many different things and bits and bobs about this film, like the way it'll kind of build towards the future of the MCU. But my initial kind of gut reaction coming after that is a worthy successor to Infinity War. Maybe not as streamlined and as immaculately kept. I think the film is bursting to the seams with stuff, and that means that certain things get left by the wayside, like the Black Widow death, which I don't feel they dwell on nearly hard enough. Hulk just punts a bench into the lake,
and that's the end of that story.
And it's just that felt very, very.
I would
weird.
clarify as well that I was when he chucks the bench away, it doesn't make a noise for ages, and I remember sitting there going, I think this is going to land somewhere in a couple of seconds, and everyone's going to laugh, and I'm going to be really annoyed if they laugh at him throwing the bench. And I was like, the bench hasn't come down yet. That bench is still. I would like to sit down and compare the Gamora scene to the Black Widow scene, because it is ostensibly the exact same scene. They both go up there, they both realize what has to happen, and they both have the exact same outcome. But I remember when I watched the Gamora scene for the first time, I was like, Jesus God, they've actually gone and killed her in the middle of that film. I was like winded by that. And I watched it with Black Widow. I was like, so he's gonna get the stone and then table, and that's it. That was, again, it's just like symptomatic of the whole film for me. It was like, how are they going to do it? How are they going to go through all these beats and make it more? And it was just by just making it a bit more rather than like making it different. I don't know. Again, I don't want to come off as I'm being down on this at all. It's just I expect it to come out of the cinema feeling as emotionally moved and everything as I had during Infinity War, and that's just not quite what I'm feeling.
I mean, personally, I was blubbering all over the place when Iron Man and all that sort of stuff happened, and I feel as though, as a conclusion, not just to Phase 3, but through the entire experiment that Marvel have had planned, I think this is the perfect way, because it's much more, instead of Infinity War being a much more introspective kind of look at this universe that we've built, let's tear it down and see what happens. This is very much a celebration of the MCU,
yeah, I agree.
Warts and all. So
it is. It turns everything up to 11. Everything that people hate about the MCU
is up to 11.
It's up to 11. Everything that everybody loves about it, the spectacle's there, the humor's there, the character development here is better than it's been anywhere else. Some of the emotional payoffs aren't there because it would be 4 hours long, probably.
Yeah, true.
I mean, one of the best things is I didn't feel like I was there for 3 hours.
No.
I was aware that my backside was quite numb at one point.
It was so warm.
But then it was over, pretty much. The start, it was slightly slower, and I think it was slightly self-indulgent up to the point where it started to kick off.
On the whole, like, love being a love letter to the franchise thing, it does almost feel like the Russos went round and they interviewed like every single big Marvel fan. Went, look, what do you want in this?
I'm quite a big Marvel fan.
One thing do you
call me actually?
Not as big,
size-wise.
Not as big as Thor. What one thing do you want in this? And literally everything. It's like, in The Simpsons where they get all the money for the oil thing. Double guitars, yes. 1,000 deep, massive battle, yes. Ant-Man the Wasp, yes. Captain America lifting the hammer, yes. Couple of deaths, yes. It was just like everything and everything and everything. I loved it all. Like, I loved all of those bits I've just mentioned, but it was just messy, wasn't it?
It
was a good kind of mess though. Like the kind of, I don't know. It's one of those.
I wouldn't say it wasn't Josh Brown.
Nobody hates an all-you-can-eat buffet, do they? You might regret it afterwards if you feel a little bit gluttonous, but all the way through the experience, you are having the time of your.
I think the buffet is a brilliant comparison there, because buffets are brilliant. Everybody loves a buffet. There's a great choice. You can have everything you want, but by and large, the food at buffets is bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think
I think
so.
Infinity War was a lovely sit-down 3-course meal. This was like the Marvel buffet. Take your plate, go for seconds if you like. There's quavers, there's cold sausage rolls, there's slices of pizza, everything. But at the end, I was like, none of that was like overly good.
There's no Chateaubriand.
There's no Chateaubriand.
Well, and on that delectable note, we'll close off this brief portion of the discussion / whatever this just was.
Just want to say, I really, really liked it. I'm really worried about coming off as if I didn't like it. This is just coming out. These are my feelings.
So you hated it then?
No, I
Hated
really
it, sorry.
liked it.
Hated it.
He hated it.
I really liked it.
We loved it.
We loved
I
it.
really liked it.
Loved it.
I still need to get my
Whatever it
feelings
takes.
lined up. Whatever
Whatever it takes, Adam.
Tell them to share and subscribe.
Yeah, go on, like, share, and subscribe, and head back on over to whatculture.com. And it's 4 in the morning. I'm completely delirious, but yeah.
I'm Adam.
I'm Simon.
Bye.
Bye.
Delirious.
I'm Ewan. Bye.